Mm-hmm.
I think.
I'm getting off the elevator, and this guy goes, "He's waiting on you." I said, "I know." Welcome to Sunday.
It is a hot mic. Yes, we know Christopher Cole. Okay. I love technology, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television live here from Raymond James Stadium press box. In fact, I was told tonight this is the first time anybody's ever seen this. I said, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and, of course, Amped Up Sports, Mr. Leo Haggerty, after USF takes care of business. Their first win in 2023 over FAMU, 38-23. Buddy, I'm telling you right now, it was a game where there was lots of mistakes. There was lots of opportunities. In fact, I really felt like this team should have won by more than what they won by, but a win is a win. How do we start off the evolution of Sports Talk Television here on a, what is it, Sunday morning now?
Sunday morning.
Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. We'll have a phone line open here. We're live from Raymond James Stadium after USF takes care of business. A good win, but once again, I think they left a lot of meat on the bone, if you will, as my former co-host would say, Sean the Sports Don. What's going on, Leo?
Exactly. And you know what? That's the first thing that Coach Golis talked about. He said, again, we left a lot of points on the field again. Uh, in fact, I asked him, one of the questions was, how important was it? FAMU took the opening kickoff at 7-0. They come back, score right away.
Yeah.
I said, how important was that? He said, it may not have been that important. It's nice to start fast, but it wasn't that important in a sense that we knew we were going to get the ball more than one time. So that was huge.
And of course, we're representing Amped Up Sports. You're exactly right. He must feel relieved because look, yeah, absolutely. The new shirts here, I love them. You
Mhm.
got the purple. We got the red corner, I guess we're gonna call
Yeah,
this now. The red corner.
the coffin corner.
The coffin corner. I like that. I like that. Here, live from Raymond James Stadium's press box. They were up 24-14. Getting ahead of myself here, though, an inauspicious start, if you will.
Oh, there word.
Yes, where basically the defense can't get off the field. A main factor for this USF Bulls team this year, of course, last year not great. Of course, last game where they're up 17-7, they have no answer for that offense. They had no answer early for FAMU, right?
No, they didn't. In fact, the funny thing was, all of a sudden, we started to see a lot of turnovers.
Yeah,
The Bulls defense came to play,
they did.
and it was big. And again, I want to stress this point with our listeners. When you're talking college football now,
Mhm.
keeping a team in the 20s is a very good defensive game. Under 20, it's a great defensive game. I mean, you look at Alabama, Texas tonight. 30s and 20s. It's just not going to happen.
That game to me was not a surprise with the way Texas played last year and all that Alabama lost. Again, open phone lines if you want to get on there. Talk about your favorite college football team. Of course, we're trying to focus on USF tonight, but you're exactly right. And you have to get defensive stops, and early they weren't able to do that. Long drive by FAMU, but then USF answers the way they did. They tied the score up. They get up 14-7.
And a special teams fumble.
Yes.
In fact, it's right after the first score on the kickoff.
Correct.
It's 7-7. FAMU fumbles it, and man, all of a sudden, the floodgates open.
Yeah, a touchdown to El Joffrey Brown there for 7 yards. So they go in, they tie the score, and then they get a gift, like you said. Kick return. They recover 7 plays, 17 yards to go up 14-7. And I felt like really in this game they could have been up 21-7 because they go for fourth down, wide open receiver over the middle, looks like a touchdown on fourth down, which was it's been a common occurrence for this team. Early on in this year, last game they had a couple plays on fourth down where they scored touchdowns. This game, of course, later on they score a touchdown to put the game out, but really in that first quarter, it seemed like the longest first quarter of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They could have been up 21-7. Guy drops the ball because of what? What did you tell me when we were in the press box together talking? If he would have just put a little bit more on the ball,
put some air underneath it. Yeah. Exactly. And I'll tell you what, one of the questions asked Coach was, you had a chance to give him a knockout blow again, like you did last week,
right,
and couldn't happen. So what they did was they were to sustain some offensive continuity.
Correct.
Not only in the first half, but into the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they left points out on the board. 4 turnovers. The first half there, they couldn't really take advantage of it, although they were up 24-14. And then the second half, a little bit slower pace. It seemed like things kind of calmed down. Defenses kind of took over.
And a lot of laundry on the field, Peter. Let's be honest.
A lot of laundry, and I think that's one of the main things you look at. Even though you win 38-24, of course, you've got Alabama coming to town next week. So if you play like that, and of course, already.
And I'll give you a prelude of the question I'm going to ask Coach Tuesday.
Okay.
Admiral Yamamoto stated, after he found out that Pearl Harbor was a sneak attack, we have awoken a sleeping giant and filled him with a terrible resolve.
Well, they're going to be upset.
Oh.
We saw the kid, Jalen Milgro. Definitely got lots of potential. He's had some good throws. I think he's a one-read quarterback, which basically means one read and he's taken off. He's got that athletic ability, and that's something.
And that may have been because of Texas,
right,
because
right.
I'll tell you what, between last year and this year,
Yeah.
Texas has gotten immense on both sides of the line. Not too many times you can say Alabama's offensive line gets beat up. They got beat up tonight.
Sure, absolutely. And then I know you talked to Coach Golish in the presser here, so I tell you what, let's go out to Coach Golis. And what was your question? You know what? Let's not give it away here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
When the clock runs out, you got your first win as a collegiate coach. What's going through your mind?
Just what I said. Think about the opportunities we left out there. And I'm not a negative person, but opportunities, like I said, the post-whistle penalties frustrate me. The 3 and outs frustrate me. The inability at times to get off the field frustrate me. The wins and the losses we'll look at in January and evaluate those. In terms of being able to enjoy it, I certainly do enjoy a win. Really cool to see my family there afterwards because they go through it with us, and so that part was really cool.
FAMU takes the opening kickoff, goes all the way down the field. How important was it for you to score right away?
I think starting fast it certainly helps. It helps, offensively if you can go down and score. I think when they score first, you want to see your team not flinch and just continue to play the next play. But I don't know. Our whole thing is all about playing the next play and not being super worried about the last one. So,
could you describe what you're?
All right, so there you go. That was Coach Golish right there, and he said it best. He was disappointed. Of course, you've basically got all kinds of new faces, new names. You're starting from ground zero here. You're trying to get a foundation win, and this is an important win. I get it, it's FAMU, but still,
any win is an important win
right
when it comes to college football because you only play 12 games.
Exactly.
That's it. That's
exactly.
huge.
All right, what did you see from Byron Brown tonight? Because you also had a great question for him, but what did you see from the young man? I mean, we know how talented he is. 160 yards passing last week, 160 rushing yards. Didn't rush as much tonight because I think FAMU was very fast, and that was the game plan there. And then, of course, I think also Golish said this week in the press conference how he didn't want Byron Brown to take a lot of hits. He wanted to also depend more on his running game because, yes, as athletically talented as Brown is, he can always take that hit and basically you lost your quarterback. So you definitely wanted to have.
In fact, they did lose him for a series because he got his hand banged up or his wrist, whatever. And one of the questions was, how is he? And Coach Golish, simple answer. He's a tough ass dude.
Yeah, he's a tough ass dude.
And I asked him, I said, you know what? How do you deal with that? Because you don't like to slide.
Right.
Don't like to slide.
Don't like to slide. I think he's going to have to learn how to slide if he wants to get to that next level.
Especially when you're going to get hit.
Right. Exactly. All right. So you also interviewed Mr. Byron Brown here on Amped Up Sports live here on the Sports Web after USF defeats FAMU 38-24. Here we go.
Did you do anything you didn't expect on defense today?
I mean, I wouldn't say so. I mean, we watched film and I felt like we were very prepared. The coach prepared us well. We went out there and did what we were taught to do and practiced throughout the whole week. And we could have executed a little bit better on some plays, but we'll fix that in film.
The problem with being a tough-ass dude is you don't like to slide a lot when you're over the line. You're going to have to learn how to do that to kind of fight the next play, so to speak.
For sure. Actually, I be trying to slide, but gotta get some yards sometimes. Gotta know when to get some yards.
All right, so there you go. Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television after USF takes care of business over FAMU 38-24. What else did you learn from the young man tonight?
He protected the football.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. He threw a terrible interception up at Western. He was first and goal from the 5.
Right.
Throw it away. When you're in the red zone and on first down, throw it away. And he misread a coverage early when they had a chance to really put the nail in the coffin early up there, and the pass got picked off. Tonight, a whole different animal. He protected the football, and that's the key.
Yeah, that is the key. He finished up for the night 20 for 34, 197, 3 touchdowns. Naquan Wright had a big night. Anyway, it kind of rhymes a little bit there. 9 carries for 55 yards, and the majority of that was on the first drive, and it really set the tone for what USF wanted to do all night long, which is be physical. And that's what you got to take out of this. Even though this team is so young, the physicality is there. Coach Golish talked about this last week, how he was surprised by how physical they are, how tough they are, and that's a great thing to have, especially with wanting to establish an identity. That's exactly what they were able to do.
And you know what? I can go back to the interview I had with Coach Orlando on Wednesday. He stated that I want these guys to fly around. I don't want them to think. I want them to just go, just play hard. And I said, your defensive line last year to this year, it's a whole different dynamic. They're huge. He goes, yeah, we're physical. And that's what has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you notice with this team. At the point of attack, they're very physical. They definitely want to run the ball. So if you want to talk about USF tonight, feel free to call in 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. This may be abbreviated tonight because it is a little bit later. Of course, we will be back next week here live from the press box with Alabama coming to town. So just to finish up.
And you know what, Peter? I want to thank Brian Segrist for allowing us to do this. He's
so cool.
Yeah, he said, hey, you got 2 hours after the last whistle blows, and gives me time to go down, gives you time to set up, and here we are. So, hey, call in. We'll answer the phone.
Yeah, call in. We'll definitely answer the phone. Jason Littlejohn had a 6-yard pass to make it 24-14 at halftime.
And let's give you some credit. They didn't quit.
No,
they kept coming.
I mean, FAMU definitely didn't quit, and we knew that Coach Simmons wanted to come in here, as he is a coach that has definitely been up for some jobs, if you will. USF was even talking about him, and then they decided to hire Golish. But Littlejohn, of course, makes it 24-14. You got Byron Brown making it 31-17. Calvin Dean with the 45-yard pass from Mosa, who had a rough night tonight. 3 interceptions, and again, 5 turnovers overall for this defense. That has to be impressive. Although
I don't care what level you're on, you turn it over 5 times, you're not going to win a football game. No.
But the craziest thing is that FAMU is actually still in this game. So give credit to where credit is due. Not only USF causing turnovers tonight, but also getting sacks with 3 of those. So they get back in the game 31-24. And what do they do on 4th down, which has been their calling card? Say whatever you want to about this team and how young they are. But that coach, I'm going to say right now, he's got some balls. Goes for it on 4th down. They go for it on 4th down here. 31-yard pass by Byron Brown to basically put the nail into the coffin there, wide open. And I was like,
and the reason why he was wide open is he ran a double move on the defender. Well, and it was a great call by the offensive coordinator, Coach Gordon, and the move was fabulous. He curled up right where the first down would have been.
Yeah.
The corner buckled, and then he just turned it up, and it was like, oh, broken ankle. Here we go.
Broken ankle, touchdown at that point. And
as we like to call the coaching profession, he got sniped.
There you go. He got sniped for the night. Total yards, 360-393. Very equal between both teams. Of course, FAMU, more total yards there. Passing yards, more passing yards for FAMU, but they were down for most of the game. Rushing yards is where you got to take a look at. That's where you make your hay. 126 rushing yards. We talked about Mr. Wright's night there, 4.4 yards per carry. If you're getting 4 yards a carry, that makes it even more manageable 2nd and 3rd down.
Do the math.
Yes.
4 times 3 is 12. First down.
First down, USF overall player statistics here. We talked about Byron Brown, 20 for 34, 197, 3 touchdowns. Wright, 9 for 55. Dukes, who had a big catch in this game, 13 for 40. Brown, 17 carries, so still gave him the ball. 25 carries last week versus Western Kentucky, 17. Do you think that they're going to cut that down versus Alabama, or do you think they're going to continue to run this young man on the outside? Because it seems like when he gets that, he has that space on the outside. He's definitely electric.
You know, Jay Retcher had a great comment coming up. He may have to get the baseball coach over here to show him how to slide. But
Show him how to slide, yeah.
yeah, because you don't want to be crossing the line of scrimmage against Alabama because they're the best team at going for the football.
They are.
And that's why you want to, hey, let's slide.
Simmons, of course, the hero for the night, but leading the wide receiving way, of course, had the touchdown, the clinching touchdown, 3 catches for 59 yards. Atkins with a double pass. You saw that play there.
Yeah.
That was huge. 5 catches for 57 yards, and also he had a pass for 39 yards.
And you know what, Peter? We'd be remiss
Really,
if we didn't talk about the attendance. There was 30,000 people here tonight.
I mean, and I still think there's USF fans here. That's why we're giving you this post-game edition. Maybe we don't have any calls tonight. I think it's more late.
Yeah.
I think there's also a lot of Bucs fans out there just in a couple hours looking forward to those pregame shows and Bucs versus the Vikings. Just to get on the Bucs really quick, because I know there's still Bucs fans that are watching. Were you surprised by the turn of events of Mike Evans today with Adam Schefter saying in so many words it was not expected for the Bucs to get his extension done to that deadline? Were you surprised by that turn of events?
Not really. Again, when Mike put a deadline on it, which I definitely agree with, hey, let's not go into the season.
Yeah.
You know, but let's see what happens and go from there. This could be Mike Evans' last season with the Buccaneers. Let's call balls balls and strikes. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The guy's a little long in the tooth, but he hasn't dropped off. That's the key.
You're right. And you know who else had a big night on defense, who had 2 interceptions, who I wish we would have got a sound on, but we'll get a sound on eventually? Logan Berryhill. What did you learn from that young man tonight?
Yeah, I asked him, I said, what was it like being able to look at film of actually what happened? Because, we saw Western, but it was all last year's film.
Sure.
He had a chance to do that. And, I was happy because the kid was he was a full-time special team guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't a guy that, just walked in, started and all that. But here he was. He took advantage of the situation, and everybody said, well, he was lucky. You know what luck is, Peter? It's where opportunity meets preparation.
You're absolutely correct. To tell you what, let's go out to some comments here. Christopher Cole says, hot mic. Absolutely hot mic.
Hot mic.
Let's go out to Melissa. Good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you. Christopher Cole. Leo was right about Texas and Alabama. If you watch the JP Peterson show, I was telling everybody that Texas was going to win that game, and you know why? Because this man right here agreed.
And by the way, before you go to the next one,
Yes.
I just gotta wait a second. Let me pat myself on the back.
Ahead. Pat yourself on the back.
I was 3-0 again this week. I am 8-1 with my college picks, and I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,800 to the black.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yes, sir.
See? Who needs Harry the Greek when you got Leo the Legend right here, Haggerty? And let's just joking, Harry. I think you're watching still. Who knows if you are not? I had to keep looking at Google to check the score of the USF game. We got you covered here on Amped Up Sports and, of course, the Sports Web. John Cannon made a field goal tonight, 27 yards. Overall, give me your final thoughts here as we wrap it up. We're almost to 12:30 here live from Raymond James Stadium.
Yes, here we go.
I know. I don't want to
keep the old man out too long.
Past your bedtime here, but give me some final thoughts on this big time win, the first win in 2023 for the USF Bulls and Alex Golesh.
It was huge because you did not want to go into Alabama 0-2.
Yeah.
And again, I asked Coach Golesh last week, Western Kentucky, the big thing is you don't want one to fester into 2 losses.
Correct.
And he said, I don't have to worry about this team. They'll be ready. And he was right. They were ready. They weren't flat. And Peter, that's 2 games. They come out. They haven't been flat.
No.
And that's huge because when you start quick, you usually finish quick, and that's a good sign.
That's a good sign, and they started out quick. Last week weren't able to close the deal tonight. A different story as USF picks up their first win in 2023, 38-24 over FAMU. We'll be live here tomorrow, I think about 10 o'clock in the morning with the over-under / sports web, taking all your phone calls, getting you ready for Bucks versus the Vikings. And then tomorrow after the game, we'll have your post-game edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, Amped Up Sports, and of course, Bucks Life. For the great legend Leo Haggerty here live from Raymond James Stadium, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. USF wins 38-24 over FAMU. I'm your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and, of course, USF fans, it's your time. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television.
Have a good night. Oh, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning. What is it? Good morning.
Well, good afternoon and good night. All right, let's pack her up. That was good. 12:30. We're done. That's good.